Wrestling fans of the world, you're used to the traditional dog collar match where two people tied together because one wants to try to escape his opponent. But what if for a second, the dog collar match was between two absolute warriors that didn't want to get away from each other, but wanted to inflict that much more violence? We're going to talk all about that iteration of the dog collar match here tonight on tonight's Ring Respect Radio. So it's time to say boom, just like that. It's Thursday night, and that means it's party time with us. We are the Video Bros. My name is Bobby Munson, and the man sitting beside me, he is the man with the angelic voice. He is Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Hey, happy Thursday to you, Munson. That was quite the introduction. And hey, look at you. You got a cat jumping up on your shoulder there. But
he's a wild one.
At any rate, I'm ready for another episode of Ring Respect Radio, and especially excited for this one because we get to go down under to New Zealand, where our buddies are in New Zealand wrestling. Can't wait to do this review.
Oh, it's going to be fun, as always. We always love our friends over in New Zealand Wrestling. And quick shout-out to Zach Minger in the chat. Thank you for joining us here tonight, my friend. But, yes, we love New Zealand Wrestling. We love our friends over there. And it was in particular our good buddy, the Divine Light, Mr. James Shaw. He wanted to let us know that IPW New Zealand, who we've covered many times here, but it tad a little bit behind all the releases on YouTube, which, you know, it's understandable. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And Jake Sheehan, he is a busy-ass man. We know that from talking to him, Pop Smokes. So we knew that we might be waiting a bit. But then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, James is like, hey, bro, guess what? IPW just dropped every single one of the 2025 releases other than, I think, the one right at the end of the year, the Christmas show that they do. That is the only one that isn't up there just yet, but all the rest of the entire year's catalog is up there. I'm excited for this. We're starting with a Reckoning. That is the first release to come at the start of 2025. Before we even start getting into the chaos that was Reckoning 2025, our good friend the Mangler's in the house. Happy Thursday to Munson and Papa Smokes. Excited for this episode. We're excited to have you here, as always, keeping that chat lively and active. And yes, Papa Smokes, Reckoning was a very, very interesting night, to say the least. We got to see some very great matchups. We got to see some cool new faces, a lot to unpackage. But before we even start talking about New Zealand Pro Wrestling, before I even go over to you to give us a little lay of the land, I want to take one moment to talk about Prairie Pro Wrestling, because, again, we are now firmly into 2026 here, Papa Smoke, and it is not that far around the corner. I'm talking about Saturday, February the 21st, when Prairie Pro Wrestling returns to live action right here in Saskatoon. If you haven't got your tickets yet, make sure to reach out to Prairie Pro Wrestling on all of our social media to book your tickets today. I guarantee you, Papa Smokes, it's going to be an absolute banger that night in Saskatoon.
Well, and you say it's not so long till February 21st now, but it has been kind of a long stretch since the beginning of December with season's beatings up to this card on the 21st of February. So a bit of a long stretch for the fans. Dark, cold winter here in Saskatchewan. Why not brighten it up a little bit with a live wrestling show? Get your tickets and be thoroughly entertained on a Saturday night at the Cosmo Senior Center just off Broadway.
Yeah, you're not going to want to miss out on it. Those tickets are going fast. Make sure to book yours today to guarantee your spot at one of the, well, not one of, the hottest show in all of Saskatoon. And that's an absolute guarantee from your men, the Video Bros right here. And I'll be happy to see that great PPW crew that I know listen intently to this show every single Friday or into their weekend. So hello to our PPW crew. Looking forward to seeing you coming up in the nation. We're happy to see you too. Make sure you're checking out the releases on YouTube, because guess what, Papa Smokes? We're getting very close to those chaotic Ring of Horrors releases over on the YouTube side. A lot to unpackage there. We just called the very first of the Ring of Horrors. We also called the last match from the Los Slamtos stuff. We'll talk about that at the end of the program. But now, let's take a little trip. Let's take a little trip across the pond to our friends in New Zealand, IPW, Impact Pro Wrestling New Zealand. Papa Smokes, why don't you start off by giving people a little bit of the lay of the land, a little background on IPW and New Zealand and where we're at tonight.
Absolutely. We've been with IPW. We've reviewed a number of their shows before. We've had the great David Dunn as an esteemed guest on our show. And we've been to this city and this venue before. So this is took place in Auckland, New Zealand. One of or the biggest city in New Zealand. It's kind of up in the air, depends what population measurements you take, but 1.7 million people. It is called the City of Sails, Auckland is, because of its two giant harbors with a lot of sailboats, a lot of shipping, and all that kind of stuff going on there. Very, very nautical city, you might say. Auckland is on the north end of New Zealand's North Island, so we're up at the very tip. And it is Auckland is on a field of volcanoes, if you can believe this. Very close to one of the biggest volcanoes in New Zealand. And so you might say it's a rather tumultuous and tremulous area. And you're going to see just that with this card tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Papa Smokes. I've actually watched a few of the cards that they've released on YouTube ahead of time in preparation for these nights, just to see how things went down. And I'll tell you, you think the crowd's rowdy here? They keep getting rowdier per show. And by the time we get a couple shows into this thing, we are going to have some very interesting stuff to talk about from our friends at IPW New Zealand. Speaking about David Dunn, former guest on Ring Respect Radio, you can go catch him on our trip through the territories where we did the history of New Zealand here, always filling in with great content. Also did a great job on the commentary as usual throughout the show, giving us a background on everybody taking place inside the matchups. He kicks off this show to do a signing of a waiver. Yes, we're talking about a waiver between the two combatants that are going to be in the main event. We're talking about Spartan. We're talking about Horus. You saw these two tear each other apart. We saw the title change at the last event. Our good buddy, the Divine Light, James Shaw, not very much liked by the people of New Zealand as much as we tend to get along with him, but he is the new champion, and he is the new champion because Horus and Spartan have a dark history together. They have a long blood rivalry between the two of them, and they took their eyes off the prize for a little too long inside that cage match, and that's what allowed James Shaw to get that advantage to be able to become the first ever 5-time IPW New Zealand heavyweight champion. And now they are going to settle the score here tonight, but before they do, David Dunn, the general manager, wants them to sign that waiver and wants them to make sure that this is not going to be something that, like, you know, whatever happens, it's not the fault of IPW or management or anything like that. You can't turn around and say they put you in a bad situation. These two guys wanted to fight, and they wanted to hurt each other, and they wanted to bring this thing to an end. And damn it, Papa Smokes, they didn't hesitate to sign that waiver either.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that match eventually, but as for the signing of the waiver, we get a little look at the main event competitors, and you can see that there's even a similarity in the way they look. They're of the same general build and size and all that. You can see why these two guys might be rivals. And if you follow New Zealand wrestling, you'll know that these two have crossed paths many times before, sometimes as friends, sometimes as rivals or enemies. But as we're going to find out tonight in this main event dog collar match, there's no love left between these two, and they've got issues to sort out. They're going to get sorted out one way or the other by the end of tonight.
You like blood, you like violence, then you're going to want to stick around to hear about that dog collar match later on this show. You can also go check it out. If you go check out IPW NZ on demand over on the YouTube side, you can actually check all these matches out on their channel. Make sure to go and show them some love, subscribe to their channel, check out all their great events, absolute free wrestling, and great free wrestling as we kick the show off between Ringo Ryan and returning to action for the very first time in a long time. Somebody who we haven't had the chance to really talk about here on the show so much in terms of watching their wrestling, Pop Smokes, but a legend over in New Zealand, Del Knox, returning to IPW New Zealand for this opening bout. And interesting how this thing went. So this didn't stay a one-on-one matchup for too very long because we eventually turned this one into a tag team matchup because Vinny Dunn ends up having to come down to back up Del Knox, who's being taken advantage of by Con Capital. Con and Ringo Ryan using the numbers game to their advantage with Del Knox. So lo and behold, tag team matchup becomes halfway through this thing, and what a great tag team matchup we had. And it did end up leading, surprisingly. I thought with Del Knox coming back, Vinny Dunn at his side, maybe they were going to go with the opening match being a big welcome back victory for these two gentlemen, but not the case because Con Capital picking up the victory, Ringo Ryan pinning Dal Knox after a distraction and giving his team the win. This was a very, very good way to start the show. A lot of energy here, a lot to unfold, and these are guys that are, either legends or have been in the mix recently with IPW as well too, because you're going to see throughout this card a lot of new faces. So they also needed something strong to start the night off to really get the fans into this, and I thought this was a great opening way to do it.
For sure. And I was interested to see Dal Knox. They spoke very highly of him on commentary, gave us a little bit of background about how this guy's been a legendary figure in New Zealand wrestling for some years. They mentioned that he's just recently been inducted into the IPW Hall of Fame. So even though we haven't watched the deal, Dal Knox, he comes with a reputation that precedes him. Now, Knox also makes a big splash with the crowd. They're obviously very familiar with this guy. Very glad to see him back. But the one-on-one match doesn't get off to a very good start because Con Capital just not going to leave it at this one-on-one match. They're going to keep interfering in this. The referee's having trouble controlling it. So with the blessings of GM David Dunn, they make this into a tag team match. And these heels are going to heel. That's the way they go. They're trying to get the numbers advantage. They're trying to do everything they can to win this match. But in the end, the distraction of the referee, despite a hot tag, Dal Knox and Vinny Dunn taking the groin shot, getting rolled up and getting pinned in this. So despite the high talk by the commentary and despite the support of the fans, the baby faces go down in this one. Ringo Ryan and Anthony Khan with the Con Capital pick up the win here. So what do you think they're doing here, Munson? What do you think that this has got to be a rematch of some kind? Is it going to be in the tag team division or elsewhere? What do you think? Where do you think the bookers are going with this one?
I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself. Like I said, Pop Smokes, I have watched a couple of more of the programs as well too, so I don't want to start making predictions and maybe revealing something that I found out watching what comes up as well too. So I'm going to try my best to hold back on a few of those things. But anybody in the comment section, if you have watched this match or if you're watching on replay, go check it out and let us know where you think the booking's going. But anytime that you got this faction, we saw Ringo Ryan joining Con Capital just recently, you got to imagine that there is plans for this faction to go places in IPW, that they might end up being one of the new danger factions within the company, and very quickly.
Yeah, I could see that also, and it seems like something's building here. Con Capital are going to try to advance themselves through the rankings of IPW at basically any cost, as we've seen. They didn't take much stock in what the referee was saying. They didn't look like they wanted to listen to GM David Dunn, so they're going to do things their own way, and we're going to see in the coming months. I guess you know already maybe what's going to happen in the future with this, but for the rest of us, we're on the edge of our seat. We want to see what Con Capital is going to get up to, and will Dal Knox be back in IPW for an extended run here? We'll see that also.
You bet you will. Someone who is going to be in IPW for an extended run is up next on this card, man. It's the man who holds the Warner Cup, at least for now anyway. He is the man that if he's still holding that Warner Cup come the Eliminator, will be getting himself an IPW New Zealand Heavyweight Championship matchup. And who's to argue with this man? He is as wide as he is tall, and he is extremely dangerous, undefeated. I cannot stress how big this individual is. He is the great ape, Jay Rilla. And Papa Smokes, we've spoke very highly of Jay Rilla. Even Jake Sheehan on our show spoke very highly of Jay Rilla as well too. And we've said many times that we see these quick matches from Jay a lot of the time, but we haven't seen anybody really take the fight to him just yet. We haven't really got to see, I think, everything that Jay Rilla can bring to the table, because he doesn't have to do a whole lot right now. He is an unmovable object against all of his opponents. And so he comes out and he is some kind of PO'd because James Shaw not in the building. The champ nowhere to be seen. Starting to say, absolutely, oh my goodness, can you believe this? Look who we got right here as we're speaking. as we're speaking, the Great Ape enters the room. Hello, Jay Rilla.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely perfect timing, my man. Perfect.
Say his name and the Great Ape appears.
You bet he does. Awesome. Thank you for being here, brother. Really appreciate it. But yes, as we're just talking about from Reckoning, when you came out upset that James Shaw was not in the building, but you were willing to put that Warner Cup on the line and a gauntlet match nonetheless. We have yet to see the Great Ape go through a gauntlet match here, Papa Smoke, and we were going to see quite the list of opponents here for the Great Ape that we're going to give it their absolute damnedest to try to put one over on them, and try they did. We got to see Joseph Cruz for the very first time, a very interesting young face to IPW here. We're going to learn more about him later in the night as well, too. More to come from this young man as well in the coming shows. Didn't quite get the job done. Didn't really expect that he was going to. He was definitely outsized there. Matty Short gave it his Sunday best, but he came up short, for a lack of a better term. Perfect Peter Parr, we've talked very highly about here on the show, came out next, and he tried. We got to give it to him. He definitely tried, and he tried to use some shenanigans to get through, but it wasn't enough to take the Great Ape down. And then we get Jacked Maximum. Jacked Maximum comes out, man, and this guy finally looks like somebody physically the size that could try to move the Great Ape, and he gave it his best. He actually had a few spots there where it looked like he rocked the Great Ape just slightly. But that's only going to last for so long, Papa Smokes. There is not a whole lot you can do to this big behemoth of an individual. And once again, every single man, 4 up, 4 down, the Great Ape crushes them all and continues to hold that damn Warner Cup, and he plans to hold it right through to the Eliminator and get that title shot at James Shaw.
Well, you said it, Munson. We've seen a few of Jay Rilla's matches in the past, and really the question is, what are you going to do if you're one of his opponents? I mean, he's shown himself to be completely dominant in all of his matches, not letting them go on any length of time whatsoever. He just uses his size, his weight, and his wrestling knowledge to completely devastate his opponents. So what's IPW to do also? You got to give them 4 guys in one night, and even they didn't put up much of a fight. The first 2 going down very quickly, 2-minute matches. Peter Parr and Jack Maximum getting a little more offense in, but really not even able to stand up to the Great Ape at all. So Jay Rilla looking so strong in this company, looking absolutely undefeatable at this point, going through the gauntlet in record time, getting 4 wins so quickly. And the question is begged here, what's anyone going to do against this huge guy? I realize he has yet to come up against some of the main event talents in this company, including James Shaw. But you got to think those guys are quivering in their boots just a little bit, looking at this giant of a man who's having no problem with the rest of the roster. Our friend and confidant, James Shaw, has got to be quivering in his boots a little bit. But you know what he's going to do? He's always got a plan. He's always got a plan. And you know that he's got to be figuring out what he's going to do against an extremely dangerous threat to his IPW title. What's James Shaw going to do against Jay Rilla?
You bet by hook or by crook, James Shaw is going to look to find a way, and I can't wait till we get the opportunity to talk about that matchup in particular coming up at the Eliminator. It is going to be one hell of a showdown between those two gentlemen. Can't wait, Papa Smokes. I've seen it. You're gonna. We got some stuff to talk about. I'll tell you that much. So I can't wait to get around to that review with you here on the show. So everybody, stay tuned for that episode of Ring Respect Radio coming up in the next few weeks or so. But yes, while it's fresh in my mind too, Pop Smokes, because we saw some of the opponents laid out at ringside there, eventually helping each other to the back. We know that there's kind of this buddy formation now between Perfect Peter Parr and Jacked Maximum, and even backstage they did a little segment here with Young Cruz and said that they wanted his autograph. I found this kind of humorous or whatever. They've got that piece of paper slid just underneath a board that's covering up the rest of what's going on, and they're snickering as Cruz signs this thing, and I'm like, these two guys are going to become a very entertaining. In fact, no, not just these two guys. These three guys are going to become a very entertaining piece of IPW coming up. I can foresee that going. I thought this was a comical little segment between the three of them, and I'm interested to see where this friendship between Jack Maximum and Perfect Peter Parr goes as well too.
No, this could result in a very effective tag team and a very entertaining tag team. But for now, those guys in the back just, they've all got a tear in their beer after their evening tonight. Just didn't last long. Didn't get much of their offense in. Didn't get anything in. For now in IPW, Jay Rilla standing strong and being the most dangerous force in the company by a long shot. And once again, the question has to be asked, what are they going to do about this problem? He doesn't seem like he can be stopped at all.
You bet, yeah. Up next, speaking of debuts in the company, we've got, first of all, not the debut, but Mighty Maya coming out. We spoke very highly of Mighty Maya, seeing her recently on IPW and taking on a debuting Raven. And I couldn't believe it, Pop Smokes. Mighty Maya came out to a very large pop from the audience. Raven's pop must have been 3 times the size. I swear Raven sold every single ticket in that place because, wow, what a pop for a debuting Raven. This match was extremely good for somebody's debut matchup in the company. Raven looked very sharp in this thing. Mighty Maya, of course, is an excellent worker inside the ring, and it almost feels like there's a bit of a company push coming the way of Mighty Maya as well too, especially with what we're seeing here, being trusted with bringing in this new person and leading them in this particular matchup. But yeah, Raven's got a good look. I'd say the only negative I have with Raven, I like the look, I like the ring stuff. The name, because it's so still in recent history that we have someone by the name of Raven. I just wish it was something else. I'm sorry, that's a personal thing. It's just me. For all I know, Raven's real name is Raven. And that could be the reason why. I don't know the history here, but it's just kind of one of those things when you've got somebody who's made it as far as they have in pro wrestling and somebody else has that similar name. It's like you're going to be fighting an uphill battle as it is to try to get your stuff out there online and everything when you've got somebody who has a name within the same profession that's got a little bit of that history. That aside, Raven making an excellent debut here. Mighty Maya looking awesome in this matchup, picking up a great victory in what I would say was a very hard-fought battle between these two competitors.
Sure. And as far as Raven's name goes, I didn't actually think of Raven, the wrestler from ECW and all that, but I maybe I'll take the opposite side of this. I feel like it's maybe been long enough. It's in a different part of the world, and Raven, in this case, being a female wrestler, it rings differently for me. It sounds good to me. Also, Munson, did you know that the Raven, as a bird, is of the corvid family, very steeped in mythology. They're very, very intelligent birds, and some would say mystical and even magical. So that name carries a certain weight. Are we getting a note here that that's actually her name? Okay, well, there you go.
It's good when you got inside people that can fill you in. So, I mean, again, their actual name is Raven. So, I mean, I do apologize. I had a feeling it might be the case. It's one of those things, right? It's just you've got somebody who's made it so high in the profession that has that name that sometimes I think about the promotion side. That's the online brain here working and about how much you have to fight against the algorithms and stuff like that to get yourself up there. But kudos to Raven for putting on a banger first matchup here in IPW. And again, Mighty Maya getting a great display as well too. I like this match a hell of a lot. This was really good.
Me too. And they gave them 7 or 8 minutes here approximately. This was a cool match. I feel like New Zealand in their area might have some similarities to wrestling around in Western Canada. There's just not quite enough female wrestling talent to get around to all the companies sometimes. IPW usually features a women's match on it. I appreciate that. I like that a whole bunch. And the crowd got all over this one. And Raven making a little debut there. You talked about the pop she got. I feel like that's similar to wrestling around here too. If we feature a new ladies talent, they go over big time with our crowd because they're glad to see different female wrestlers getting the opportunity to get in a ring in front of a crowd in our hometown and over there in Auckland, New Zealand as well. So the crowd likes to see new talent. They took to Raven immediately, but Mighty Maya also very popular here. Munson, does she remind you of any of the wrestlers we've been covering from our neck of the woods up here in Canada? I felt that there were similarities between her and the matriarch. Even on commentary, they used that word for her. She's like the matriarch of New Zealand wrestling. Big and strong, athletic, uses judo techniques, lots of nice flips. She looks like she could kick a lot of the men's asses in this wrestling company as well. She's very strong, but Raven looking good too. Had some kicks, got some nice martial arts kicks, middle section, high section kicks, so looking good as well. They both got some stuff in this match. They made the best of their time. Mighty Maya goes over in this, but Raven's still looking good after a defeat in this match. So a bright future in this company as well. I can't believe we've seen the last of Raven in IPW in this company. So let's look forward to more. Maybe we've got more to see from Raven yet.
You bet, yeah. And I just thinking to myself, Jay Rilla, who's in the chat, maybe the Great Ape would get taken off his feet finally by Mighty Maya. I'm sure she's got the power to kind of pull it off. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that'll be a matchup one of these days. We'll have to see. But up next on this particular card, we have got the pronounce this for me, Pop Smokes. I've got it written down, and I'm still going to have a tongue twister here. It's Adiora, something like that.
Yeah,
Tag team championship. So. Okay, I hope it's Jay. Please, if you're still there, my friend, please let me know how bad I messed that name up. It's probably I butchered it, I'm sure. But it is a 2 out of 3 falls tag team title match between, and this is weird to say, the former tag team champions New Blood as they're taking on the new tag team champions SAS. And yeah, Papa Smokes, I know you're a big fan of SAS. 2 out of 3 falls. Book it. I like it. There we go. Book it. Let's go. Jay Rilla and Mighty Mile. Let's throw down. Love it. 2 out of 3 falls. We kind of generally know what's going to happen in a 2 out of 3 falls match. We're going to have one team get the one win. We're going to have one team get the other, and then the match really gets kickstarted. And sure enough, New Blood picking up a very, very quick victory. If this was a one fall matchup for the belts, we'd have new champions in probably record time here. So New Blood picking up that very first victory, trying to get this thing kickstarted. But to no avail, SAS then really took over this matchup with not only the second, but the third fall victories as well, too. These two teams are fantastic. They did a great job last time out. This 2 out of 3 falls matchup did not disappoint for a second. And we know that at the same time, Alex Savage, while holding tag team gold, is now also still lurking with that contract where he can get himself a championship match at any time in this company. Who knows how that's going to go down. Munson, are you trying to say? Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Obviously, I butchered the shit out of this. I can tell already, and I still can't. I mean, that's a whole lot of vowels, man. That's a whole lot of vowels. I don't know if my tongue can get twisted enough to be able to say that, but I do appreciate that it backs meaning and everything like that too. So I apologize for butchering the name. And you know what, Jay, when one day I get my ass. Oh, here we go. Aorte Aroa. Arte Aroa. Okay, I hope I said that right. Again, my apologies. Guess what? I am putting it down. If one day I get to, and I plan to make my way out to New Zealand, I have no problems about everybody chopping me once across the chest for butchering that name. I'm throwing it down right now. And I'm not talking just the locker room. Everybody in New Zealand can line up and chop me across the chest to teach me a lesson for butchering the shit out of that one.
Or just Jay Rilla will probably do the same damage.
Oh, man. Jay Rilla slapped me so hard I'd end up back in Canada from one of those slaps, I guarantee it.
I think so.
All right.
Well, have mercy on us, Jay. We're Canadians. We're not down with some of the pronunciations that you guys have in New Zealand, but we're trying.
That's right. We do our best. But Pop Smokes, your thoughts on the tag team title match, 2 out of 3 falls?
Very cool. Even with the first fall, this match took up some time on this card. They went for a while here. We've seen much success from New Blood in the past. They're a slick ass tag team. I like these guys a whole bunch, and I can see why the company put the belts on them for so long, and they had great success with that. But I love SAS. You already mentioned this. In particular, I like Alex Savage a whole bunch. His presentation is so cool. He looks like a grizzled veteran. He's got the sideburns like Wolverine. He's got the shades. He's got the cigar. This is a guy right down Papa Smokes' alley, and I like to see it all the time from Alex Savage. But no, the SAS mean business here, and they're not going to take any guff from New Blood. And we saw that they were going to cheat to win. You knew that they were, and you couldn't stop them anyway. New Blood have all the talent in the world and all the support of the fans behind them. With a grizzled veteran team like Alex Savage and Will Stone, you know that some damage is going to be done. One other note about this match that I enjoyed: the referee's name was Conan. Isn't that cool?
Love it.
Like,
that is cool.
From a big fan of Conan the Barbarian, that always stands out to me. I like that a whole bunch.
Yeah. And hello to Ed, who just joined us in the chat as well, too. Thanks for coming
by,
Ed. Appreciate you, my friend. But yeah, we've said before, Will Stone, the most punchable face in professional wrestling, pretty much. I mean, anytime that guy comes out, all you want to do is see him get beat up, and it draws some fantastic heat. And I think that's what helps to make this tension great. Alex Savage, like you said, he's got the cool look, but he looks like that grizzled vet, the kind of guy who take you out back after a few shots at the bar or something like that, and beat the living piss out of you by the garbage can, and leave you to think about your mistakes there for the rest of the evening. Yeah, this was great. I loved it. This was a great tag team title match. SAS now solidifying themselves as the tag team champions, and the question becomes, what's next for them, and where does New Blood go from here? Does New Blood have to now earn their way back to that title picture after this?
And are they at the back of the line in this tag team division in IPW as well? There are other teams that are going to want to step forward after New Blood has taken 2 losses to the champions. So we'll see. Maybe some shakeups in that division. Maybe New Blood go in a different direction. But for now, SAS standing strong, and any opponents that want to come up against them and try and take those titles off of them, you got a tall order ahead of you, because SAS don't respect the referees. They don't respect.
And we lost Papa Smokes because apparently the internet doesn't respect him. Ed asking if it's a more punchable face than Calvin Dumont. I would say it's on par with Calvin Dumont, the level of heat that he gets, and man, the way he riles up a crowd. I would say that Will Stone has equally a punchable face as what Calvin Dumont is, and if those two ever were on the same side together in a ring together, oh my goodness, the place would come absolutely unglued.
Yeah, I'd try and punch both those guys through my screen if they were ever together. Separately, they're bad enough, but that's the first guy I thought of when you said punchable face too, was Dumont from Chaotic.
Yeah, there's just certain ones, they reach that level the second you walk out and you're like, no, I don't like you. I'm not quite sure why, but I don't like you, and I hope you get punched in the face here tonight. Will Stone meets that criteria. Calvin Dumont definitely meets that criteria. But yeah, great tag team matchup. Up next, this is going to be a fun conversation here, Papa Smokes. We have the, do we say self-proclaimed, or do we call this official greatest defensive wrestler of all time? I can't even say that shit without laughing. This is the funniest stuff ever. So Sir Mr. Burns and the Young Nats come out, and they have got this large, oversized plaque, and it's the greatest defensive wrestler of all time, Sir Mr. Burns. I had to pause while I was watching this because I was laughing so much at this, and right away my brain starts clicking to things that would be equal to like kind of what Bucky McGraw presents here in Prairie Pro Wrestling for us and stuff like that. How he irritates fans with along those lines with his book of re-education and everything. But now Sir Mr. Burns, the self-proclaimed greatest defensive wrestler, and defensive too. Like nobody ever says that they're a defensive wrestler when it comes to pro wrestling, but Sir Mr. Burns did. And this ends up being a handicap match against, again, former guest here on the show, Jake Sheehan, going to go and fight the young Mats all on his own, Pop Smokes. And wow, what a matchup we had. Jake Sheehan giving it absolute all, as he does every single time he is in a professional wrestling ring. One of the hardest working guys in all of professional wrestling, whether it's in the ring or behind the scenes as well, too. So every time I see Jake Sheehan in a match, I'm glued to it. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. It doesn't matter how many guys he's fighting. I'm glued to it because, again, this is somebody that we've had the chance to sit down, get to know, get to talk to a little bit, and I want to watch his stuff. And man, he didn't disappoint, and neither did the young Nats and Sir Mr. Burns either. We're seeing more of Tyler Ernst's involvement as well too. We've seen him a couple times, but now we're seeing him a lot more, and he's starting to throw down pretty damn good. I'm seeing Tyler Ernst as a guy who's going to inevitably one day break free from this faction and have something of his very own. And I think he's got something there. I think that Tyler Ernst is definitely going to have something to stand out on his own one of these days.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Munson. And you can see that maybe Ernst has been hanging around with Sir Mr. Burns for a good reason, to get that experience, to get that heat with the crowd, to further his wrestling knowledge and to get a better spot on the card. So he's hanging out with the young Nats now. And you can see the potential from Tyler Ernst. Big, tall guy. He's got some physical gifts. He looks like he's going to be something. But for now, he's with the young Nats and just kind of sitting under the learning tree there with Sir Mr. Burns. And from the young Nats' entrance into this match, just bringing the heat to the crowd already. You mentioned the plaque. You mentioned the saying that he's the greatest defensive wrestler ever. It's hilarious. The fans are frustrated by it. They want the match to start. They know this is going to be a handicap match, and they like Jake Sheehan just as we do. They can see the potential in Jake Sheehan. He's already a good wrestler, but in these handicap matches, you're always behind the eight ball a little bit. You got two guys to worry about. If anyone's up to the task, I say it's Jake Sheehan. And he takes a bit of a beating in this match too, but Jake Sheehan knows how to sell. He's very, very good at it. He gets the crowd behind him through his suffering in this. And Sir Mr. Burns, he's got, despite his defensive wrestling greatness, he's got a lot of good moves. He's got a lot of technical holds and all that. And he was taking it to Jake throughout this match, but Jake rises to the occasion. Man, did you see the drop kick that Jake Sheehan threw in that match? Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely a thing of beauty. He's so athletic, and the height he got on that was amazing. The accuracy right to the face and then coming down afterwards. Beautiful, beautiful move. He's got that one down, Pat. And of course, there's going to be shenanigans in this match. Jake starts to take over in this. The one man is getting the better of the two men in this contest. Mr. Burns ends up coming in with the nightstick, interfering, causes the DQ. Now the heels are going to take it to Jake Sheehan. They're beating him down. They're beating him down. Jake needs a friend at this moment. And whoa, who comes out to help him? But we've already talked about him tonight, the Great Ape, Jay Zilla. And once again, we say his name, and here he comes into the chat. Love that he's watching this and commenting with us. But Jay Rilla out for the save. The heels are going to take off at the mere sight of him. And now we've got a little post-match promo with Jake Sheehan and his friend Jay Rilla.
You betcha. And good evening to Melball Collins joining us as we were talking about that just now. Melball, thank you for joining us here tonight, our resident pro wrestling Noah expert. And you can catch the latest Noah Unleashed now available here on our local establishment. Once you're done watching our show, you might as well spend the rest of your Thursday night heading on over and checking out Melball's latest Noah Unleashed. I know you won't be disappointed. Go check it out. But yes, it was great. And then, of course, as they're going for that beatdown, Pops, looks like you said, Jay Rilla coming out for the save. going to be leading to a little bit of something coming up here at the next event. We'll talk about that between you and I afterwards and what the plan is for reviewing that one. So up next, right before our main event, we have got a matchup between Liger and taking on another IPW debut in the form of Xander Taylor. And oh my, Papa Smokes, this one has to be one of my highlights of the night, especially in terms of one of the debuts coming in. Xander Taylor, a big old boy. He comes in and he has a big man status, and he comes in there and you think, new guy, okay, he's going to go out with the guy that has more experience. He's going to lead this match for a while. He's going to come close, but then you're going to have the baby face veteran wrestler go over. Not the case. Xander Taylor took this fight every step of the way to Liger, back and forth, and beating him down. Great maneuvering from Xander Taylor, especially for a young guy in this business. He really made me a fan very quickly throughout this matchup, and he picks up the victory as well, too. I get the sense the IPW know that they're onto something with Xander Taylor, that this guy is very, very much ready to be in the spotlight more so than, and this is not a knock to other debuting wrestlers. Sometimes you need to get those bumps in before you get that spotlight, but clearly Xander Taylor's got a natural gift for it, and that was seen in this matchup. I became a fan immediately.
Very much so, and this was an interesting match for where they put it on the card. This is the semi-main event, and it's a 5-minute match. So clearly they've got plans for Xander Taylor. This big beast comes in here looking like he's not going to take a bump whatsoever. He's going to give out the bumps. And I mean, look at who his opponent is tonight. Liger, he's been IPW champion before. He's an ex-champion in this company. So this is not a flimsy competition for Xander Taylor's first match here. They put him in against one of the greats in this company. And this was a beatdown. Liger tried to get something going at the beginning, but Xander Taylor, having nothing of it, wasn't going to go off his feet, wasn't going to take a backward step. This was a beatdown of an IPW legend here. So clearly the spot on the card, semi-main event, they're going to push Xander Taylor. He's obviously going to be one of the big guys in IPW over the next months and next year, perhaps. They got a lot of beef in this company. Speaking of beef, there's Jay Rilla again. They got some big dudes in this company. Xander Taylor, not only big, but intense and with some skill. He works that big man style very, very effectively. And even a dominant force such as Jay Rilla has got to be noticing the arrival of Xander Taylor. I can see his comment here. He's maybe not impressed quite yet, but I would say maybe he should be, because this is a guy with all kinds of potential and all kinds of deadly force behind him. Watch out for Xander Taylor.
Jay's been here great in the chat all night, folks. I want to throw it out there, Jay. We'd love to have you on Ring Respect Radio to come and hang with us and do a chat about your career as well, too. Let me reach out to you in the next day or two here, and let's make that happen if you're up for it. We would love to have you on the show, my friend. And hashtag thorn in my side. You watching, keeping an eye on Xander Taylor. I mean, we don't know. Maybe that match has happened along the pathway. I will find out as we continue to watch these shows. And Jay's saying 100%. I will reach out to you, and we'll get something hooked up there. I would love to have you on here, and I know our audience would love having you on here as well too. But yes, Xander Taylor, one to watch, definitely caught my attention, and clearly it's got the attention of the Great Ape as well too. He's got thorn in the side, so you know that these two will collide one of these days. But speaking about colliding, Pop Smokes, it's that time. It's time for our main event of the evening. This match scheduled for one fall. And it is the dog collar matchup. We were talking about this at the beginning of the night. Traditionally, dog collar matchups used when one individual wants to keep away from the other individual so that there is no escaping. But when it comes to Spartan, when it comes to Horus, these two just want to hurt each other, and hurt each other they would. This thing got so chaotic that they didn't even get the damn dog collars on them before the violence began. This thing spills out into the crowd. They're throwing each other across chairs, smacking those chairs across each other. The crowd is having to part the sea at this point in time because you never know just how violent these two are going to get. They get back in the ring. The collars end up on them. They are beating the living piss out of one another, back and forth, back and forth. Both of them with some of the most deadly crimson masks I've ever seen, especially on an independent show. Horus getting that crimson mask early, and oh man, he turned a totally different color for the entire matchup. He was a deep dark red this entire fight, and man, did it add to the intensity of this thing. This was a time where you want that color, you want that blood. You have got two absolute rivals at each other's throats, tearing it apart, and man, everybody in that audience was loving this thing, and so they should. These are two of your top dogs battling it out in one of the most violent matches that you can have, and they did not disappoint. This was the main event for a reason, and it was highlighted in a very special way. Great, excellent main event from IPW.
Absolutely, and I was leery just a little bit coming into this match, thinking, how violent is this really going to get? And it did. But it was also a skillfully wrestled match in a way also. I love the way they started it, that Horus jump starts it, runs to the ring, no collars on, no nothing yet. He wants to get this started. He's got the hatred burning. So they fight, and they get outside the ring, and they get on the other side of the crowd barrier. Now they're fighting in amongst the seats and in amongst the crowd. And you saw that crowd scatter like roaches away from the action because of the intensity that these two wrestlers brought to this match. Once again, this is another shot that I like from the cameras because we get to see in the crowd, we get to see some of the fans. I always enjoy that so much, especially with our friends in New Zealand. Love to see the crowd, but they were not wanting any part of being anywhere near this hatred going on between Horus and Spartan. And so they wrestle for a while. They fight all through the crowd, and they fight on the ramp and back to the curtain area, and they fight all around. By the time they get back to the ring, they finally get those dog collars secured on them. And now we're going to have the situation where neither of them can escape the other one. They start to make great use of the chain. Spartan starts out with that wrapping the chain around his fist and going to town on Horus's face. Now Horus is bloody and very, very bloody. Wow, he must have got a bad cut on his forehead. You could see it just above his eyebrow on the one side, but it was pouring down. He stayed with it, though. Stayed with Spartan. Now Spartan tries to hit a belly-to-back suplex at one point in this match. And it was an interesting spot because he didn't get all of that at all. He didn't get the full lift. And Horus fell right on Spartan's head for that spot. And you could see Spartan was stunned by his own suplex. Never good when that happens. I've even seen the great Kurt Angle make that mistake. If you don't lift your opponent high enough, he will fall with his back right on your face. That must have been a painful moment in that match as well. But Horus gets great babyface heat for this. Looks awesome with, as you called it, the crimson mask. Now Spartan, later on in the match, he's going to get bloody too, as we fully expected in this match. There was one camera shot I like. As a camera guy for PPW, Bunsen, you always can spot those nice camera shots too. There was one where there was a close 2 count. Horus on top of Spartan with the pin. Spartan kicks out, and their faces were side by side just for a second. Horus with the surprise of not getting that pinfall. The count was so close. And then Spartan from underneath, just these 2 bloody faces. The roving cameraman, the ringside guy, got the perfect shot of that. Always got to give the tip of the hat to that, because as we know in our wrestling company, PPW, always looking for great shots like that. Good job on the cameraman there. But eventually, Spartan gets dropped right on his head by that burning hammer move. Ooh, did that look painful? I don't think Horus was even going for the back bump on that one, just dropped him right on his head. There was no question that that was going to be the finish. It looked absolutely devastating. It looked like Spartan could have broken his neck, could have broken his head open. It was an absolutely vicious move. And here you see the end of this journey between these two. The pinfall 1, 2, 3, and then a rare or a kind of surprising moment after the match. The mortal enemies show some respect for each other. You could see that both of them realized at this point this journey of ours, however long it's taken, is done after this match. We're done with each other. This match is over. Horus coming up big on the winning side of things. But one thing that stuck out with me afterwards was they each did a little promo in the dressing room afterwards, and you can see that Horus is bound for bigger and better things after this. But Spartan, clearly devastated by this loss, looks right into the camera, and I'll quote here, says, "What the fuck is next?" So here, clearly Spartan at a crossroads, not only with his career in IPW, but maybe his entire career. What am I going to do next? And that begs the question, what do you do when you lose a bloody grudge match like that? One that you completely intended to win, one that you believed you could win. You still come up on the losing end of it. You got a bloody face. Your pride is hurt. You have to ask, what the fuck is next for Spartan?
You bet, yeah. Sportsmanship was shown between the two of them because, again, they have a long history, and at the end of the day, this fight meant a lot to both gentlemen. You could tell, but yes, Horus becoming the victor, walking away from this thing, and yeah, what the fuck is next for Spartan? I guess we'll find out over the next set of shows here, Pop Spokes, and we review more IPW New Zealand in the coming weeks here on Ring Respect Radio. But I gotta say, I love it. I love that we have this much content to go watch from them. I love that we're going to be able to catch up on some IPW, so we're a little bit more up to date with what they've got going on there over at IPW New Zealand. And I swear, one of these days, I'd really love to get down to New Zealand, catch some of these shows live, because those audiences, they seem like fun. They seem like my kind of people, Papa Spokes. And it. And yeah, I'm going to reach out to the Great Ape. We want to get him here on the show as well, too. Talk about all his time inside the ring. But yeah, this has been fun. I loved Reckoning. I definitely gets my seal of approval as well. Once again, love IPW. And yeah, final thoughts from you on it.
An awesome card. And I'm really excited about this windfall of matches and cards that we've got dropping on YouTube now. That's great material for us to watch and review here. Whole bunch of fun for us. Hopefully fun for the listeners as well. But I'm loving the Kiwi wrestling these days. From SPW to IPW, great companies, quality indie wrestling, as good as anything that's out there that we watch in North America. So I'm anxious for more. They've got a colorful cast of characters and a whole bunch of talent down there. Looking forward to more. And watch on Ring Respect Radio in the coming months for more New Zealand action. We love it, and we want to bring it out to you guys as well.
You bet. But for what's coming up on Ring Respect Radio next week, you can expect us to take a trip through the territories, Papa Spokes, as we're going to be heading to the West Coast for a little bit of wrestling from San Francisco. You're going to want to tune in next week for a trip through the territories with myself and Papa Spokes. And we'll see what it comes after that. I know I wanted to talk to you, Papa Spokes, because on the 29th, which is the following week, is the Battle Riot from MLW that is going to be taking place live. I'm curious to know if we shouldn't maybe just do a good old-fashioned watch-along that evening as the Battle Riot's going on. We'll discuss it in a bit. No guarantees. But, Jay, thank you so much, my friend, for being here, for chatting, for catching us up on everything. We really appreciate you, my friend, and looking forward to being able to talk to you about coming on the show and joining us here. It's going to be a blast. Keep doing what you're doing. You kick ass. We're definitely fans of you. But, yes, we got lots of great stuff coming up here on Ring Respect Radio. But in the meantime, and into a tweet time, I'm going to go put the most expensive ticker in all of podcasting up on the screen. It's the Pop Papa Smoke sticker, and he's going to tell you exactly where you can find him and reach out to him.
All right, everybody. I can always be found Thursday evenings on OLE Podcasts and the Video Bros Network. On this podcast, you're watching it right now, Ring Respect Radio. And as Munson mentioned, next week, the next trip through the territories, we're going out to San Francisco with Roy Shire. This is going to be an interesting episode because we recently talked about St. Louis and Sam Muchnick being one of the pivotal territories involved in the NWA. Well, Big Time Wrestling with Roy Shire, also a very, very important promotion. Many, many huge stars passing through there and being part of their roster for years. They started a lot of stuff. Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens and all the greats from Big Time Wrestling will be talked about next week on Ring Respect Wrestling. Ring Respect Radio Wrestling, pardon me. Also, I can be found on Elon Musk's free speech wonderland known as Twitter. I am at Smokes_Papa. And allegedly, I'm on Twitch at Papa_Smokes_.
There you go. That's where you can find the great Papa Smokes. That's for myself, Bobby Munson. That ticker down below is going to find you at Real Bobby Munson on X, Instagram, Threads, at Video Bros SK, Video Bro _Bobby Munson on the Twitch, and BobbyMunson.bsky.social over on the Blue Sky, but I don't post a whole lot there. Maybe I should make that a change. Where you can find me next, of course, you can find me this coming Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time with Andre C., potentially Ed, as we give you your weekend sports update on Point of View. Join us at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It'll be awesome. Mangler, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here every single week. Always love having you in the comment section, watching the shows, giving feedback. But again, Pop Smokes, if anybody found value in what we did here tonight, whether live or whether on replay, we want you to take a moment to click the subscribe button down below, turn on notifications, give the video a thumbs up, and let us know in the comment section down below what other indie wrestling companies would you like Papa Smokes and I to review? What was your favorite matchup from this show if you went and watched it as well, too? Let us know in the comment section. And hi, I get to announce it again. I announced it on POV. It was announced on Taking Over, but OLE is now officially a partner on YouTube. We have crossed the threshold. We are partnered with YouTube. And so that means a lot of great things coming our way. Super chats are available. Super stickers are available. You can also do this cool little thing. If you use YouTube on a mobile app, you can go ahead and use what are called hype points. Hype points are going to be found along the same buttons as the thumbs up, as the shares, as the notification. There's a thing called hype. You get about 3 of them per week. And once this video has been up online for about a day to 3 days from now, you will be able to give hype points to Papa Smokes and I. And the more hype points that we get here on Ring Respect Radio, the more we get up the hype ladder and the closer we get to getting some bigger audiences that could join us here every Thursday night and get the word of some awesome professional wrestling out there as well, too. But that's going to be it for us this Thursday. Join us next Thursday for that trip through the territories, and check out Papa Smokes and I every Saturday at the Prairie Pro Wrestling YouTube channel as your commentary team. But until next Thursday, that's it, folks. See you soon.